Oxfam's Chukua Hatua program has been up and running different pilots since August 2010 in Shinyanga region and Ngorongoro district. The aim of the program is to create active citizenship, that is, citizens who ask, know, and demand their rights and responsibilities, and are able to search for and access information. They include musicians, students, farm animators, pastoralists, leaders, and many other citizen groups. The model of change we are using holds that disempowered, marginalized people must first feel a sense of power within, the light bulb moment when people realize they have rights and that those they elect should serve them, rather than vice versa. We then expect them to move to power with, where they are coming together around common issues before achieving power to, where they are asserting their rights, campaigning, mobilizing. Finally comes power over, officials or companies. Chukua Hatua concentrates on the upstream part, power within and power with, especially among women. In the first phase, the program has piloted 6 approaches to governance. These are election tracking, student council, farm animators, active musicians, community radio, and a recently started pilot of active leadership. The intention of all the pilots is to identify what approach can act as a catalyst to active citizenship and enable wider active citizenship to build and spread. During October 2011, the program will select which pilots or which successful aspects of pilots to take forward into Phase 2 and scale up. Election Trackers pilot was the first pilot to start. It began in August 2010 in Ngorongoro and Shinyanga prior to the general election. Elections offer an opportunity for citizens to vote into office their leaders and local representatives at village, parliament, and national level. While an elaborate mechanism exists with regards to how local leaders can campaign and be voted into office, unfortunately there has been no mechanism for how citizens can track election promises made and compel the leaders to deliver on their promises. This has made it difficult for citizens to hold the leaders to account, with the effect that leaders rarely live up to their promises or the community's desires. The Election Promises Tracking Project aims to change the situation. Through Chukua Hatua, Oxfam has been equipping local citizens with the skills and tools to document, monitor, and challenge local leaders to account for their promises in Shinyanga and Ngorongoro. The aim is to engage citizens who believe that campaigning has meaning beyond the voting, and that they have the right and responsibility to demand actions on the promises made, and to assist these citizens to promote this thinking within their communities and collectively track the promises the leaders have made. The pilot has been carried out by Mass Media Bariadi and Mviwata in 36 communities in Shinyanga and by Ngonet in 4 villages of Ngorongoro, reaching an estimated 9,000 people. Although the pilot has only been in place for about a year, there is an indication of change of the program as some leaders are responding and communities like it, as Samuel Nangiria from Ngonet explains.
Na kwa sasa hivi jamii imeweka utaratibu wa kukutana na viongozi wao kila baada ya miezi 6. Kujaribu kujadiliana nao kuhusu mikakati, utekelezaji na zile ahadi ambazo walizitoa. Kwa utaratibu wamekubaliana pia na viongozi wa kisiasa, na sasa hivi kwa mara ya kwanza wamefanya mkutano wa kwanza baada ya miezi 6 ya kuchaguliwa, wamekutana nao na wamejadiliana kuhusu mikakati inaendelea. Na pia kwenye baadhi ya ahadi sasa zimeanza kutekelezwa. Viongozi kwa kweli wanajaribu. Mimi nimeona kwa mara ya kwanza, kwa mfano kufikiria kijiji cha Malambo ambacho ni kimoja wapo ahadi zilitolewa ambazo ni za kimiundo mbinu kama mnara wa simu, kama barabara. Kwa kweli barabara inaendelea sasa hivi.
The second pilot to take off was the Pupils Baraza project, working with SMV and 3 of the local capacity builders, Kawakonet, Kabuipa, and CGG and ED. The project worked at 10 schools in Shinyanga with the aim of building and supporting a democratic and open student council that could represent student voices and issues. Our partners worked with different stakeholders, including teachers, parents, district officials, to sensitize them on the need for increased student voices and to plan with them the way forward. The pilot culminated in campaigns and elections in all the 10 schools. With 8 out of 10 student heads being girls, there is also a need to shape our future strategies to support and mentor this new generation of female leaders. First round of monitoring showed that, with varying levels of success, students have been conducting meetings as well as participating in teachers' meetings. In some schools, student leaders have been following up on teacher truancy and bringing the complaints to the head teacher. Another ongoing pilot in Shinyanga has been the Farmer Animator Project, which has been working with over 200 animators in 6 districts in Shinyanga. The aim of the project has been to build a network of animators throughout Shinyanga who stimulate debate, discussion and actions on issues related to governance and the provision of quality services in their communities. The animators are all part of farmer groups as well as other groups which provide a critical entry point into the community as well as the security and confidence of taking action collectively, though it isn't an easy job.
Maana pasipo uvumilivu unaweza ukakata tamaa tu ya kazi hii ni ngumu. Kama vile tulivyohangaika huko kwenye halmashauri ya wilaya, unaweza ukaona kwamba hii kwa kweli hii nitaiweza kwa sababu nimehangaika hapa. Jamani, tujipe moyo tu kwa sababu tumefundishwa hili somo la gabishi tukabadilishe huko kijijini. Tujipe moyo, tuwe katika hali ya uvumilivu, tusikate tamaa, tuendelee ili kuwaelimisha wananchi watoke mahali walipo waende katika maisha ya maendeleo.
With 2 orientation sessions having been conducted so far and ongoing monitoring and backstopping, signs of change and of action are visible.
Kwanza kabisa sisi tulikaa na kuona tatizo, changamoto inayotukabili kwamba kina mama wengi wapo wajasiriamali ambao wanaweza kufanya biashara, lakini tatizo inakuwa ni kwamba akitaka kufanya biashara basi yazunguke nyumba hadi nyumba apate kuuza, napo anapata shida, muda mwingi anapoteza. Lakini pia upatikanaji wa huduma ulikuwa ni shida, mpaka muende kijiji jirani. Hata kama utakosa kitunguu tu ufuate kijiji jirani. Kwa hiyo tukaona kwamba hii ni changamoto ambayo tunatakiwa tuipigie kelele. Kupitia uragibishi tukaanza sasa juhudi za ufuatiliaji, tukaandika barua tukapeleka kwa mtendaji ambayo inaonyesha kwamba tunaomba tutengewe eneo ili kina mama waweze kufanya biashara na watu wengine ili tuweze kuuza na kununua. Basi serikali ya kijiji kaliona hilo na ikakaa ikakubali na ikatutengea eneo. Tanzania tulionayo sasa inasikitisha kabisa. Tanzania tulionayo sasa ni ya masikitiko makubwa.
In February 2011, the 3rd pilot of active musicians started. It intends to empower active musicians and artists to believe, inspire, and demonstrate high value of their work in influencing people to take action, to hold the leaders accountable, and demand for better and quality services from their government. Knowing how much music and drama are part of everyday life in Tanzania, we assess that active musicians are in good position to influence the thinking and catalyze men, women, children, and other marginalized groups through media coverage, traditional songs, drama, and dances. They can also directly facilitate citizens to interface and send their messages to their leaders. A total of 44 active musicians from Shinyanga and Loliondo and prominent artists from Dar es Salaam joined together for training with the intention that these artists would act as seeds within their own music groups and communities. They were trained on governance issues, and they also composed lyrics and recorded one song called Chukua Hatua. Let's ask them. After recording, they launched a song in Bukombe, Kahama, Shinyanga Rural, Maswa, Kishapu, and Loliondo, and released a video which will be played on TV stations and posted on YouTube. Back home, musicians spread the word to their original groups, and more songs of governance were recorded from Chukua Hatua to Hatukubali by Umoja Group. Another pilot is the Ngorongoro Community Radio, co-funded with UNESCO and implemented by Ramat Foundation. The radio has not yet gone live due to difficulties securing an operating license, but has nearly completed the preparatory work with the building, equipment, governance structures such as a board of directors and trained community journalists in place. Chukua Hatua, through Out Partners, has started working with local councillors in Kishapu and Shinyanga Rural. The aim of the work so far has been to increase the councillors' skills and knowledge on issues such as financial oversight, roles and responsibilities vis-à-vis appointed officials and the central government, as a component of monitoring and evaluation, as well as for internal learning purposes. The governance team visited a sample of the activities described above, with the aim of identifying potential changes and progress markers for each of the boundary partners. In August 2011, Tamasha was contracted to carry out a monitoring exercise in Ngorongoro, Bukombe, Kahama, and Shinyanga Rural. Researchers met with different groups in each of the 12 communities that were researched. Program officers and the coordinator visited researchers to share what was happening in the field. Our belief is that from piloting a random set of approaches to developing active citizenship, the foundations are now in place for developing greater coherence between the successful approaches to active citizenship. This was supported by Global Governance Advisor Jo Rowlands when she paid a visit to Tanzania.
I've been very impressed by the breadth of the work that you do, that you've been covering a lot of different issues with a lot of different kinds of groups on very small resources, I think. And what I like is how clearly some change is beginning to happen as a result of the work. We've been hearing very exciting stories from people in communities about changes they're beginning to make. Yeah, I think the next stage of the work, I think you've done a lot of experiments. I think you need to consolidate it, you need to bring it together, you need to join the pieces together, both conceptually and in the practice, so that it's not so scattered, which isn't the same as not having the breadth of geographic coverage that you have, but that you find ways of, for example, how can you get learning to happen between the different communities in different places rather than each of them doing their work separately, and maybe creating some potential for them to join up and have voice together with each other rather than separately.
All of this would not be possible without the governance team's commitment, the dedication of our partners who have been carrying out the different pilots and our donors at KPMG and UCAID. They all deserve a big up.